Welcome back to Success with Steven. My name is Steven Smith. On this channel, we talk about all things financial literacy. And today we're going to be talking about Navy Federal Credit Union and how to find your internal score. We went over this in a different video, but I wanted to make one that's completely dedicated to just showing you exactly how to find this. And there were two methods that I attempted. One of them I shared already in a previous video. One was new, but it did not work. I'll go into detail about that and how it can still work. I recommend that you actually try it first before attempting the second method. But there is one surefire way to make this work. No matter what, it is absolute. It will always prevail. Now, this is one that I talked about before when it came to the adverse action letter. So after a credit application is denied, you'll receive what's called an adverse action letter, and you get that notice from Navy Federal, and it's the hands down best way to get your internal score. No matter what other methods that I've tried, this is the one that works every single time. You can also see your score when you're approved. I'm not sure if that's still relevant today. I had a lot of people told me that when they were approved, they did not see it. I do know in the past you were able to see it on approval. So take that with a grain of salt. You know, as new information comes out, we have to update, we have to modify, we have to adapt. However, there is, again, still a surefire way to get that to work without it actually affecting you. So if your application is denied by Navy Federal due to your credit report or whatever the information is, you do have 60 days after you receive the adverse action notice to request a free copy of your report. You can read through it carefully to understand, to get clarification on the information, and you can find out exactly what was wrong. If, of course, the goal is to get approved and you want to know that information, I have an entire video on that. If you want to check that out, I'll link it here or I'll link it at the very end. But let's get into how you can actually manipulate this adverse action letter when you just want to find out your score and you're not just looking to get approved for something. Now, to see your internal score, you have to apply for something. Again, something's changed, so I want to make a couple clarifications. You should apply for a credit card without looking at anything else. Just apply for a credit card. Apply for one, and if you get denied, then you will get an adverse action letter. And I want to make this this point because this is what I've done. And this is what works for me. And this is something that I've done recently and it still worked for me. So hopefully it'll work for you. You want to freeze all your credit scores, in particular TransUnion. I mean, it's like a primary thing that we know they pull from TransUnion FICO 9. I think at this point, we all know that information to be true. Now, you want to freeze your all three credit scores, but especially TransUnion, and you want to apply for a credit card. Now, the reason you want to do that is because you will automatically be denied. You will be denied because your credit score was frozen. They won't be able to actually pull that application. So when you receive a letter in the mail, it's going to be your adverse action letter. The reason for the denial will be because they weren't able to access your credit score, which is okay because the whole purpose of this was for us just to see what our internal score was. So I've done this plenty of times. It's the best way for me, and it's actually the easiest method. You know, it takes about 5 to 7 days, but you'll get it. And once you have it, you'll have an idea about where you stand, and you can go from there to, you know, strategize however it is that you're looking to strategize to get what you're looking to get. And that could be personal loan, mortgage, auto loan, whatever it is that you're looking to get. You'll have a better idea of where you stand once you have that information. I also want to make it a note that if you're someone who has no derogatory marks, no collections, no charge-offs, there isn't anything negative on your credit report, and your utilization is good, I doubt that you're going to really be too concerned with your internal score, or I'm here to tell you that it's not going to be the most prevalent thing. While it is important, when you have a lot of the other bases covered, it's just not the most important thing. Now, if you're someone who is rebuilding and maybe you have bankruptcy, derogatory marks, a late payment here, you know, something like that, then it becomes more important because when you want someone to actually weigh on what's going on, you want them to actually look at different parts of your score. And the reason why I think TransUnion FICO 9 is a really important score is because the FICO 9 scoring model doesn't take into account late payments as much, and they don't take into account collections if they have a zero balance. I don't know if people were aware of that, and maybe I might actually make a video going over all the different scoring models, because each one weighs something else in a different way. Like, for example, I believe in the FICO 8, I'm not sure if they really weigh authorized users the way that they do, or authorized user accounts the way they do on the FICO 9. There's also the FICO 2, which is usually used for mortgages, and there's one for auto loans. So there's different ones that you can get for specific things, and they usually will weigh everything a little bit differently, even though for the most part, the score, the actual number, is consistently usually around the same range. Like if you're a 750 for your TransUnion FICO 8, you'll probably be like 760 TransUnion FICO 9, or maybe 5 points off. Generally, they're around the same range. Same thing for the FICO 2. So it is good to know the difference between them, but it's also good to know what is weighed against them and use that with in conjunction with the internal score to know exactly where you stand and what you can potentially get. But then worst case, you can always apply for something. We have the video that shows you how to remove your hard inquiries. So sometimes it's just good just to jump in and just do it. You'll find out what's going to happen when it happens, and then you can go from there, remove it, and then strategize. Of course, as you know, once you're approved, you don't remove the hard inquiry. You need to keep it. So for the next thing, I'm going to go over to Navy Federal, and then I'm going to actually show you exactly what the message looked like when I tried to request it from them. And you can try this too, but I didn't really have much success. I have seen some people who have had success with it, but I have to test it myself. I'm not saying that you shouldn't try it. I think you should. However, I'm just showing you what happened to me when I attempted it. Now, first thing I recommend that you do, if you are a member of Navy Federal, log on to the website and access your digital banking. Now, once you're logged in, you want to come up to the very top and you want to click on the Navy Federal messages, not the chat, but the message center, and it'll look like this. All right. And once you're in the message center, as you can see, I actually did a question today about score. I just put score questions, and they usually will respond to you almost within like maybe 30 minutes or so, but it can take up to 2 business days. They try to do it within 2 business days. And I'm not going to go over the whole thing, but basically I asked 3 times, hey, can I get my internal score? And then this was the last message that I got. So Navy Federal is unable to provide specifics for lending criteria and policies utilized during the application process. The only time that Navy Federal provides information about a score, it would be about your credit score. And this is only when your credit bureau report is pulled due to a consumer loan application being submitted. When an application is submitted, a credit score disclosure letter, or like I said, that adverse action letter, will be mailed to your address of record within 5 to 7 days of your loan decision. Now, this is essentially what they told me, and I kept getting the same answer, basically, just getting it in different ways from, it looks like, different people. So you can try this. You can try going to the message center. I have seen in the past where people were able to do this and they were able to actually get their internal score. I believe it's like, I've worked at a few different banks, and I believe that there's just things that you aren't supposed to do. Things that are supposed to only be disclosed through mail, not over the phone. If you got me on the phone and you talk to me every once in a while, I would just give information. But, those things can sometimes get you in trouble, write-ups, if they do call quality, things like that. So I wouldn't hold it against the representative, because sometimes those are the rules. You're not supposed to say certain things to clients or customers over the phone. It needs to be sent to them in writing. So with that being said, they essentially said the same thing that I'm saying without saying it, is that you need to actually get a letter in the mail. I actually said, oh, I applied for something, got denied. I didn't get my letter in the mail. Can you tell me my internal score? And they just kind of gave me the runaround. And then this was the last one. So I attempted a few times, but I'm not saying that you shouldn't try. I think it just depends on who you get. And depending on who you get, they might disclose it. But I don't think, I'm pretty sure, certain. I'm fairly certain by the way that this is going, that they've already been prepped not to provide this information if it's asked for. It needs to be a letter in the mail. You could probably ask them to resend the letter, but that's going to be probably the gist of it. But if anyone has success with that, let us know in the comments. Even if it's a hit or miss, someone may want to try this first before trying to do the application for a credit card and then getting a denial. So here's my recommendation. I'm going to show you exactly what I do and what makes it easier for me. If you're logged into your account, you can go to the very top and go to open new account. It'll take you to this page that'll say open new account. It'll have the membership, the certificate, IRAs, the deposits, loans and mortgages, and credit cards. So I recommend that you click on credit cards. And after you click on credit cards, it's probably going to take you to all of the different options that you can choose from. So for me, it's going to have, of course, everything. You can also go to the pre-qualification to see what you qualify for. But let's just say I'm going to go to the flagship application, and then all my information is going to be filled in here. I just want to make sure that my TransUnion score is actually locked, because I have been applying for things and I've been doing temporary lists, so that it'll be open for a certain period of time. And I do want to make sure it is no longer open for this period of time. And then once I actually do this, because again, I did this not that long ago, but it has been some time. So I want to make sure that it still works. So I want to do this with you guys in real time, so you can actually see me doing it, so you know that it'll work for you. And I'll probably just put out okay, it's still frozen. So I'll probably put out like the part 2 of this when everything is said and done. But right now, I'm probably going to cover this up because it has my address, my email, my personal phone number. All right, so I filled in all the information, and we're going to submit the application and we're going to let it go. And of course, it should get denied here. Okay, so that's basically the denial. We've received your application for a flagship rewards card, and we will review it as soon as possible. And you can expect an answer within 24 to 48 hours. If we need any more information, we'll call or send you a message. Thank you for choosing Navy Federal. So of course, that's going to be the denial. I should get a message here soon with the attempt of the inquiry. I usually get it within almost minutes. So right here, I got it from Credit Karma, came in first. A hard inquiry was blocked. Now what will end up happening is in 5 to 7 days, I'm going to get that letter in the mail, and then we'll have another video where I'm going to try to scan it and upload it to my computer so it comes in nice and clear, and we can take a look at it and talk about the adverse action letter, how yours should look, and then how you can proceed to make sure that you get, the credit cards that you want. We'll probably talk about high credit limits at the same time when I get that letter in the mail. So hopefully this does help answer that question, because I kept seeing that question come up about internal scores. This is the easiest way for you to get it with Navy Federal. If you want to try doing it through the message center, then by all means, I would always just attempt something first. It doesn't hurt for you to try. Worst case, they say no. Best case, they just give it to you. And at least if we know, hey, it works some of the time, that's always an option to recommend for people to try first. For me, didn't really work out, but this is the way that I normally would do it. And this is the way that I normally would get my internal score within 5 to 7 days. So thank you guys so much for watching this video. I will be doing a part 2 once the letter comes, and then we'll talk about that. And you guys have a wonderful day, and keep a lookout for that second video.